What's going on, everybody? Nick with 666 Serpents. I am pleased to announce that I got my shipment today from my boy Mark down at Vision. You rock, dude. He sent me the extension poles, the shelving, the tubs, the heat cable, everything I need to take this 10 tub, 5 shelf V35 Vision rack up a notch to the next level, baby. That's right. We're going to double it up. So sit back, enjoy, and let's get to it. Okay, first things first. This is how I like to do mine. I like to get everything prepped. So what I do, I get these guides first. I take my rivets that they give you, these little plastic rivets. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick them in. And then once you get it, for this V35, we're going to do 3 stops for each shelf, each level. So what you do is you get that where them holes, the pre-drilled holes are. And you're just going to push that down in there, right? No big deal. No tools for this at all. You're going to push that, right? And what I do is I go ahead and I stick all of them in there and get them all ready so that everything's streamlined, it goes quick, and it's painless. So let's get into it. I just want to start off by saying that when you're doing this step, make sure you have your shelves on a flat surface. It makes it so much easier to do, and you don't run the risk of it snapping or cracking your shelving. Because let's be honest, you do have to push down with some kind of force, and it could easily crack it. And we don't want that. You don't want that. Vision doesn't want that. So let's just make sure that you have it on a flat surface. And if have everything ready and at arm's reach, and it will go super fast. I could probably build this whole rack in 30 minutes. This and the heat tape is the kind of the most intensive part of it. It takes kind of the most time, but it's really not that bad no matter how you look at it. I like the fact that there's no tools necessary for this. That's a plus. Anybody could do this. And like I said, you just keep going and follow this step until you run out of guides for your bins, and then you're ready for your next step, which is the exciting part, which is putting the poles on. And I'm going to be showing you the pieces to that and how all of that goes together for the extension for this build. Alright, so now that you've mastered the shelf part of it, what you're going to do is you're going to work on the poles. And since these poles come with the female ends, one of these ends is for casters, one of these ends is the top for the bolts right here, which we're going to go over a little bit later. But for right now, what you're going to want to do is, if you're doing the extension, making it builder from an existing rack, you just want to unscrew this out, right? You need to order from Vision these double male-ended threaded, I guess, couplings, whatever you want to call them. And then you're going to take that and you're going to screw that into one end only, okay? These are going to screw into these, and I'll show you that in just a second. So you want to make sure you leave one end of the female that looks like this with threads on one end, because this is going to take the place for this up top. But we'll get into that in just a second. Go ahead and get all your poles ready with one of these double male-ended couplings on one end of each pole. Alright everybody, so once you've got all your poles ready with all of their ends on them, what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to use a wrench, pair of pliers, whatever you have, whatever you prefer. And what you're going to do is you're going to unscrew all of these out, okay? I'll go ahead and set that to the side. And you see this? This is what we had earlier, right? So we're going to take this out, see? Then we're going to grab one of our new poles with our male end. Stick that in there, and we're just going to screw her down, y'all. Easy as pie. Screw that down all the way. You get it nice and snug, and repeat. Alright, now that you've mastered the shelves and the poles, what you're going to do, you're going to get these little cool little spacers that they give you. Right here, you like that? What you're going to do is you're going to take these, and you're going to stick them here. You're going to do that to all 6 poles. And then you're going to get your shelving. You need to make sure that your guides are on the bottom. When it sits like this. You have prongs. This is very important, so pay attention to this part. If you don't listen to anything I say, the whole video, listen to this. You see there's prongs here, big square prongs. That is for your tubs that are going to go and pull out this way, right? And you have your prongs here, and it's a big long strip of prongs all the way right here. And that's for your tubs like your B35s and such that you're going to do like this. And you need to make sure, pay attention as you're putting your shelves on, where your prongs are according to the tubs that you're using and what you want the front of your rack to be opposed to the back. See, I want my heat tape in the back. I'm using the V35 tubs, so I will be pulling out this way. So all I'm going to do, make sure my guides are down. You're going to line up all these holes, just like a wire shelf that you would get from any home improvement store. No different than that. And you're going to finagle these down. And I will say, it takes some maneuvering. It takes a little time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hyperlapse this so you don't have to deal with me spitting and cussing trying to get these things down. Alright everybody, now that you've got all your shelves pulled down, it does take some time. You do kind of have to be careful, but for the most part you're just banging them down. You could probably use some kind of Vaseline on it to help it go down easier, some kind of lubricant. But I didn't, because I don't feel like having messy, have to clean it all off, etc, etc. But then, this is crucial for the next part of this build. You're going to go ahead and put all of your tubs in. Alright, just like this. All the way up. God, this is a beautiful rack. So happy about this. Go ahead and get all these in nice and tight. Alright. And now you're going to come up on the step stool with me for the next part. Alright, for this next step, what we're going to do, you have these spacers. They're significantly smaller than these. Okay? So you're going to take these and put them at the top over that. Remember these bolts from earlier and these washers? These are very important, people. You put these on and they screw into that female end I was telling you about. So what you're going to do is, you're going to do this all the way around. Then when you get them all in, you're going to go around with your tool. This is literally the only tool you need, this or a wrench. And then you're going to tighten them. But you don't want to tighten it down too tight. You need to do it like you would a car tire, right? So you're going to do, you'll do this one, then you'll do this one, then you can do that one, that one, and keep going until they're pretty snug. All you're doing is is you are bringing this space and tightening it down, okay, so that there is no way that nothing can push this shelf up, right? So these are going to tighten down, and then once I've got all my bolts tightened, we will move on to the next step. And after this video, make sure you go down below and catch the newest Sippin' with Serpents episode that comes on every Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Come drink a beer with me and my co-host Justin with Pressure Pythons and have a good old time. Alright, enough of that. Let's get back to this build. Alright everybody, now that we've completed all those other steps, we're on to the next one. We have like 2 more after this and we are good to put snakes in it. So you got these backing pieces that come with the complete package. When you order your rack, you need to go down to options and hit complete package. That way you get everything that you need. It's a really good deal. Alright, so these are really thin, hard pieces of plastic, right? They're real durable. There's these channels right up in here on the underside of this shelf. You're going to get it in the middle. You're going to wedge it, okay? If you don't have these backings, when you push that tub in from the front, this is the back by the way, when you push that tub in from the front, it's going to just push out unless you have a board or it's right up against the wall. But even then, you push enough of these tubs, it's going to get to where it pushes out against the wall. So I would recommend just getting the backings. And again, these are channels, and you're just going to wedge those up in there like so. You don't have to worry about it. It's not coming out. Alright. So now we're going to move on to the next step. We got 2 more steps. The next step's kind of difficult, but I'm going to show you how I do it, and that's the heat cable. Alright, so now, like I promised, the fun stuff. You got your Vision heat cable. This is 26 foot long, 75 watts. I was a big heat tape guy for a long time, many years. Now that I got this heat cable, it's pretty awesome. So I will say that it's not what I expected, and I'm glad that I went with Vision because they do use the heat cable. So it's just a little cable, and I'm going to show y'all how I run it so that you have enough cable and you get as best temperatures on each shelf as you can. So, all right, y'all, we're at the top of the rack again, and I just want to specify, I felt like I needed to say this. This is the top rack. You don't put heat cable up here. You can, but if you do, you got to remember there's no top right here, so it's not going to have a lid. So you need to get a good locking lid tub if you're going to keep something up here. So I didn't think I needed to say it, but then I thought about it and I was like, oh. So this is how I run the heat cable. All right, everybody. I like to run my heat cable at the top. Now I like to do it 2 runs, all the way down, 2 runs. Okay? Because you got to remember, heat's going to rise. And once you have all these shelves with all this heat cable, it's going to be a lot warmer up here than it is down here, say. So you have to kind of adjust the length of the cable per shelf depending on your room, everything. There's a lot of variables, so you just got to find what works best for you. Then you're going to take it, you're going to leave enough slack like this. That way you can go in and you don't have to worry about the tubs hitting you right here. So leave that be just like that, just like I have down here. So I got my cable done. I went with just 2 on each one because it's higher than the bottom, and I just wanted to do 2. I know my room, like I said, you need to figure out what works best for you and make sure you have your temp gun, you know, your beam, your laser beam, so you can check this. Once you have it on and plugged into your thermostat, you can check the inside of your tub and, you know, adjust your thermostat accordingly. So I hope this helps, because this took me a while to figure out the heat cable. But once you figure it out, I don't think you'll ever go back to heat tape. Alrighty, people, we are there. We are ready to go. We got all of our heat cable in, right? Really uniform, clean looking. Any excess you have, you can make up for it. Stick it here, there, wherever you need to make up for it. Then what you're going to do is, I use 2 heat cables because this is a big, you know, this is not a small rack. It's very tall. So I use 2 heat cables. I have them plugged into a surge protector, which I have attached to the rack. Just, I like it kind of to be organized in a life of chaos. I like to use the Herbistat 2s. Anything Herbistat I really recommend as far as a thermostat, but any thermostat will work, a Viv Electronic, whatever you want to use. But you're going to set your temperature, right? And then you're going to check your tubs. Once you put your tubs in, accordingly. After about an hour, you're going to check with your heat gun and adjust your thermostat accordingly. Okay? This is an open-ended rack, open-sided, so I keep my house very cool. So I have to have an oil heater, but no worries, because my Herbistat 2 has 2 plug-ins, and I can run this rack on one, and the other I can have my little probe right here and run that to my heater. So it works out great. And then once you get your tubs in, you take these little deals right here. This is your nameplate front tub stopper. They have these channels cut out. You have channels cut out of here. Slide it on. Tub's not going nowhere, and you have a nice little place to put the name. So, you know, essentially, I love these racks. I want to let everybody know that I love these racks. Little pastel het DG. But yeah, they work like a charm. You do need to run your thermostat probe the best you can. I don't know if you can really see it. Focus. Right here is my probe that goes to my thermostat for the heat cable, right? So I run it along these channels, and then I zip tie it through the holes to keep it there so it doesn't move. And you're good to go. Well, that's it, y'all. It's time to say sayonara. We did our build. We got this 22 tub V35 Behemoth Vision rack with all the bells and whistles. And all we need is the animals to go in it. I want to give a huge shout out to Mark at Vision and his whole team. Y'all killed it with these racks, man. Everybody go check out the Versa racks and the Ultras. I want to give a shout out to customcages.com and customaquariums.com. If this is not your speed, go hit them up. They can build you whatever you want. I got some shout outs. I got to shout out my boy Ken over at LMK Reptiles. Make sure you go to his YouTube and hit the bell and subscribe so you don't miss his live podcast every Tuesday night. It's a hoot. You don't want to miss it. Then every Thursday we do the RWO show, which you need to go to my Instagram, 6 serpents on Instagram. That way you can see whose YouTube page it's going to be on. I know it gets kind of confusing, but social media, what can you do? And then Saturday, we have the Thunderdome with Vance with Blue Zombie Morse. It is awesome, especially if you like football and snakes. They do a fantasy football league where they give out like a cool little trophy. I mean, it's pretty sweet, right? So there's that. Right after the Thunderdome now, don't forget this, you got Sipping with Serpents, which is me, Nick, with triple six. Then you got Justin with pressure pythons. We drank beer, we talked snakes, we talked life. It's an awesome time.